As you were watching this episode, I'm in the UK. I've just landed and I'm having the best time, I'm sure. I'm so excited to even just be thinking about the fact that I'm sitting down now to pre-record an episode of the podcast for while I'm away. That means it's soon, you guys. Oh, I'm so excited. But welcome back to another episode of the To Nurture Your Soul podcast. As you can tell, I'm very excited. And if you are new here, welcome. Feel free to subscribe if you're watching on YouTube, or if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, please make sure to follow along. I think that's what you do, right? Follow on Spotify? I think you do. Whatever it is you do on whatever platform you're watching on, please make sure you do it, because over the next couple of weeks, I'm going to be uploading episodes talking all about my trip to the UK. I'm so excited. Literally so excited. So let's just backtrack a little bit. Let me kind of compose myself here, get my shit together. As I am recording today's episode, there is still a couple weeks until I leave for my UK trip, but I am trying my absolute best to be a productive girly, to be a girly that's on top of her shit. And I'm trying to pre-record as many episodes as I can so I can edit them while I'm away and have them still go up while I'm just having a fun time, and I don't have to kind of like stress about filming them or editing them while I am away. So that's what today's episode is. As you're watching this, so I land around 7 a.m. their time, which is Friday night for all my Australian people. So if you're watching this episode when it goes up, and you're watching it in the morning, I'm on my travels, I'm on my journey. By tonight, Australian Eastern Standard Time, I will have landed in the UK. And I will be hugging my beautiful girlfriend, which, it's been too long, you guys. It's been too long. It's been over 3 months now. So by the time that I am getting there, it'll be like 3.5 months, I think, since she was here. So I am just so excited. I cannot even begin to tell you how excited I am to see her, but also just to be going on a whole adventure with her in her country. Back in March, we had the whole adventure here in Australia when she came here. So I'm excited to go and meet her family, to go and see where she grew up, and I'm just excited for the trip in general. The goal is to hopefully stay awake on my first flight and then sleep throughout the majority of my second one. So I'm leaving Sydney Airport at 2:15 p.m. on Thursday the 22nd. So I'll be getting up bright and early, 6 a.m, get my butt on the train and getting the train to the airport. So I'm gonna have like a massive day even before the flying part of the whole journey. So yeah, getting up early, getting my massive suitcase on the public train to the airport. Wish me luck. I've obviously taken that train heaps of times. I know the journey, I'm so fine, but like I've never done it with a massive suitcase and on my own. Like I've done the trip on my own, but I've never done it on my own with like a ton of luggage. So it's definitely going to be interesting, that's for sure. So once I get to Sydney Airport, my flight's at 2:15, and then I will be getting a flight from Sydney to Hong Kong. My layover is only like an hour and a half, so hopefully that will give me just the right amount of time to get off one flight, get on to the next, and then my second flight is from Hong Kong to London. So first flight is 9 hours. I think I can stay awake for that. And then the second flight is 14 hours. And by the time that I get on that flight, it'll be like early hours of the morning for like my normal time. So I'm like, hopefully I get on it, have a couple beveraginos, and I pass the fuck out for like 9 or 10 hours. That would be the ultimate goal. If I, for some reason, can't sleep, which I am positive that I'm going to be able to. The only reason that I think that I might not be able to sleep is that if I'm super excited. But if you know me, you know that once I get tired, I will sleep anywhere. Literally, I will sleep anywhere and everywhere. I'm someone who, if I am tired, I will sleep. It doesn't matter what I have going on, where I am. Like, my body physically cannot stay awake when it is tired, when it's exhausted. So I am like so confident in the fact that I think at least 5 to 6 hours I should be able to sleep, even if that is like broken up, 2 hours, whatever. But for the rest of the time, I will have my laptop, I will have my iPad. I am so excited to get so much work done. And I know that sounds like so lame and boring. Like, Lacey, you're going to the UK, like, chill the fuck out. You don't have to work 24/7. But I'm so excited. It's the vibe, you guys. The vibe that I've been talking about for the past couple episodes. Just the airport editing life that I have always wanted for my whole entire life. It's coming to fruition, everyone. And I'm just so excited about it. So that is what I'm going to do. I'll set myself up at Sydney Airport as soon as I get there. Beveragino. It'll be like, I don't know, midday, but it will be 5 o'clock somewhere, you know what I'm saying? And I'll just watch the planes, I'll edit my videos, I'll do my drawings, I'll drink my beveragino. Life will be amazing. That's my little catch up for the beginning of this episode, because that's what I will be doing in present time as this episode goes live. I'm so excited, and I hope you guys enjoy all of the content that I'm sure I'll be posting over on my personal Instagram and on TikTok and stuff like that. In terms of work for the next couple weeks, I will be working the first week that I'm there and the last week that I'm there. So yeah, I'll be around. I'll be jumping on TikTok every now and again to chat with you guys, and I will continuously have content going up that I'm pre-filming this week. So I guess let's just get into the topic of today's episode and what we're going to be talking about today. So I thought today we could sit down and talk about the importance of sticking to healthy boundaries, which this is like the number one most important thing that I have learned over the past year to 2 years, I would say. I think it's the number one most important thing that I've learned through seeing my therapist, Leslie. I think I'd spoken about this topic in particular very generally a couple episodes back in the episode titled Advice That I Would Give to My Younger Self or something like that. I spoke about how one of the things that I would tell my younger self is to put boundaries in place and stick to them sooner. But I felt like just touching on it very briefly in that episode wasn't enough for how important I genuinely think that this topic is. I think it's so incredibly important. And I think it's something that as we grow up, depending on, the home lives that we have, the relationships that we have, I really don't think that a lot of people incorporate setting healthy boundaries in their life. I really don't. And I think, like I said, depending on the relationships that you have in your life and how you grew up, setting healthy boundaries could easily have been, taken as you back chatting, you doing this, that, and the other, when in reality, setting healthy boundaries and standing up for yourself in situations where no one else is standing up for you is so incredibly important. And I'm so passionate about this topic that I just wanted to do a whole entire episode on it, because as soon as I started implementing healthy boundaries into my life, in terms of every aspect of my life, every relationship, including my work relationship, my life completely changed in terms of physically my life, and also my mental health and the way that I look at the world and the way that I see relationships, the way that I interpret relationships, and the way that I interpret communication in general between two people or families even. So I do have a couple dot points written down as always, just to keep me on track. But I think this is a topic that I'll be able to go on tangents on for ages. So if you haven't seen the episode where I do talk about all the things that I would tell my younger self, I highly recommend checking that one out. I will try and remember to link it in the description box down below, but if you go back on the channel, it'll probably be 3 or 4 episodes back. That one gives you kind of a little sprinkle, a little taste of what this whole episode will be. Or if you just want to hear it in a more concise way mixed with a bunch of other stuff, then that's the episode for you. But the very first thing that I have written on my list is that setting healthy boundaries and sticking to them is so incredibly important for your values and for making your priorities known in relationships, whether that is romantic relationships, friendships, family relationships, any type of when I say relationships in this episode, you guys, I'm talking about any relationship, you know, romantic, friendship, family relationship. Let's get that straightforward at the beginning, because I feel like I'm gonna continue to like repeat myself on that if I don't just, you know, say what I mean. So yeah, making your values and priorities known in all types of relationships is so incredibly important to have healthy relationships. It truly is about communicating those things, and by communicating those things, it's setting boundaries. So having that conversation with people that are important to you in your life and people that you want to have long-lasting relationships with is super important. So for example, a friendship relationship, we'll go with that one. My values when it comes to friendships is a friend that understands my job, for example, a friend that understands that I am on my phone 24/7 all the time, that I am constantly, you know, looking at screens all the time, every single day. So for me, I value friends that want to hang out outside of our phone screens, friends that want to catch up for coffee, friends that want to go out for lunch, friends that want to organize weekends where we hang out. Those types of friends are ones that I value. Obviously, texting friends and FaceTiming friends and doing all of that stuff is like just the way of the world right now. That's just the world that we live in. Everyone's busy, and obviously texting and, you know, FaceTiming, all that fun stuff is important for relationships to grow as well. But I personally value friends who make the time for me in real life. And that is a boundary that I've set for friendships in my life. I don't particularly find myself being close friends with people who never actually want to see me in real life, which I think is a pretty standard boundary to have in place. Like if we're not hanging out in person, I don't really know if I would call you my friend. Do you know what I mean? Like if we're both not putting in the effort to see each other outside of our phone screens, are we really close friends? I don't know. And setting boundaries isn't always about like having a checklist and being like, right, these are my 5 boundaries that I need in place, like blah, blah, blah. Boundaries are something that you can establish over time. And you can even, you know, have people cross boundaries without you realizing that that was a boundary. But as soon as someone crosses that line, you need to be able to sit down and have a conversation with them and say, this is a new boundary for me. I didn't appreciate the way you handled this situation. I didn't appreciate the way you spoke to me in this situation. And just being able to have that open communication from then on, being like, this is now a boundary that I want to put in place for me and our friendship. And then it is up to that other person whether they want to acknowledge and take on that boundary and move forward knowing that that is a boundary for you, or whether they don't want to stick to that boundary. And then in that case, you need to know that that is no longer the friendship for you. That is no longer the relationship for you. That is no longer the situation for you to be in. Knowing your boundaries and sticking to them prevents you from being taken advantage of or manipulated. I think if you don't have those healthy boundaries set in place, it gives wiggle room for those unhealthy people that you will, you know, stumble across in life. I feel like it's inevitable. You know, not everyone that you're going to meet in your life is on the same vibrational level as you and gives the same energy as you. But having those healthy boundaries set in place stops other people from being able to take advantage of you in vulnerable times. And this kind of circles back again to the previous video that I was talking about, all of the advice that I would give to my younger self. I think a lot of the time when I was growing up, I would always think to myself like, why me? Like, why is this person being so horrible to me? Why is this person treating me the way that they are doing? Like, why? And now that I'm older and I understand and I can look back at those situations, I'm like, The reason why is because I didn't set healthy boundaries for myself. I didn't say, you know what? No, you speaking to me like that is not okay, regardless of, our age difference, our relationship, anything. The way that I deserve to be spoken to is like this, and you are not speaking to me in a way that I deserve. Having healthy boundaries, I think, answers a lot of the whys, especially growing up. Like, you can't really answer why people are the way. Like, some people just are the way that they are. But if you find yourself continuously asking yourself why, it's because more than likely you are continuously letting that person think that it is okay to speak to you like that. If someone treats you a certain way, or speaks to you in a certain tone, or speaks to you with a particular type of language, and they get away with it 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, they start to form an understanding in their mind that you are okay being spoken to like that. But unless you sit down and you say, you know what? I do not deserve to be spoken to like that. I do not deserve to be treated like that. Rather than just letting it roll over, being upset in your own time, or not fully vocalizing the way that you feel, then those people that are in your life are going to continue to stay in your life, and they're going to continue to speak to you or treat you or whatever the way that you have always allowed them to. So creating those boundaries, and like I said, you don't have to have a list of them off the get-go, which, I mean, it's good to have a couple of things on your list. Like, I know for me, I will not let people speak to me like shit, because I don't deserve that. No one deserves that. No one deserves to be spoken to awfully. And I feel like that's a pretty basic boundary that every single person should have in place. If this type of situation is resonating with you, then take a look at the relationship that you have in mind and think, is this person really, really valuing my time? And do they deserve my energy? And if the answer that comes straight to your mind is no, you know what you need to do. And this ties in again with one of the topics that I spoke about in that other video, but people truly are only in your life for seasons and reasons. And if this person was the one person who was able to teach you your value and your worth by unfortunately treating you like trash, then you need to thank that person for what they have been in your life for, and say, you know what? I don't deserve it anymore. I deserve better. The next thing that I have written down says that sticking to healthy boundaries creates a healthy space for you and your mental health. And this is so incredibly true. If you have your boundaries in place and you do not let people walk all over you, you do not let people tear those boundaries down, then you will be continuing to create a healthy space for you and your mental health. And your life, just in general, will be filled with so much less bullshit. And I promise you that. So many less questions, so many less, everything. If you continue to stand up for yourself and who you are and what you think that you deserve, then your mental health will be free. The space up here, I'm putting in my tiny brain for those of you that are listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. But you will continue to have so much free space in your mind for so many more things in your life that are more important and more beneficial to you and your growth. You will have more room for creativity. You will have more room for people who match your vibrational energy. You will have so much more room for hobbies, for interests, for gratitude, for meditation. You will have so much more room in your mind for whatever it is that fills your cup up, whatever it is that puts a smile on your face every single day, because you do not have to worry about the noise and the static that's going on up in your mind, the questions, the constantly asking yourself why. Setting boundaries is so incredibly healthy for your mental health. Even when it comes to work, setting healthy boundaries in terms of work. If you are someone that works from home like me, a healthy boundary that I put in place for my time management for work is I wake up and I work from 9 till 6. After I finish my TikTok lives at 6 p.m, I'm off. My brain is off and I'm doing whatever it is that I want to do that night, whether that's listening to a podcast, watching YouTube, FaceTiming a friend, talking to my girlfriend. I set that boundary in place for for my own mental health and for the benefit of my business. And if I didn't do that, my mental health would be fried. I would be constantly burnt out and I would not be able to show up every single day as the person that I continue to show up as, which is someone that I enjoy, you know? And that's like a really cool thing to be able to sit down and say, like, I want to continue to show up as the best person that I possibly can because I like myself when I am the best version of me. And I like me, all the different versions in between too. But yeah, it creates a healthy space for you and your mental health. The next thing that I have written down says setting boundaries within family relationships is particularly tough, but I think the most beneficial. Now, when it comes to family relationships, it can be super hard because the dynamics of like parents versus child or like older sibling versus younger sibling can kind of be brought in. For me, in my opinion, at the end of the day, it does not matter if you are the parent or the child. It does not matter if you are the aunt or the niece. It does not matter if you are the older sister or the younger sister, the older brother, the younger brother. It doesn't matter who you are, the age difference, how old you are. At the end of the day, respect is respect and boundaries are boundaries. If you are a child, a teenager, an early adult, or, you know, if you are just a child of someone, which you are, if you are here in this world, there is absolutely nothing wrong with setting boundaries with parental figures in your life, whether that is godparents, real parents, aunties, uncles, grandparents even. There is nothing wrong with you being the child or the grandchild or whatever in any situation and setting boundaries for the benefit of your mental health. And I'm so passionate about this because for me, in my personal family relationships, I feel like now that I'm looking back at my childhood and how I grew up, a lot of my boundaries were shut down or pushed down. And when I look back at those situations now as an adult, knowing what I know, I'm like, I was not back chatting. I was trying to stand up for myself. I was trying to put in the healthy boundaries that I needed for me and my mental health. I remember growing up, a lot of the sentences that I would say to parental figures in my life was, I don't appreciate you speaking to me like that. I just want to have a normal conversation. Like, I'm just trying to speak to you in a normal tone. Can we just have a normal conversation? Because I didn't like being yelled at. I didn't like being spoken over. But that was the reality of the situation. Saying that you just want to have a civil conversation and that you don't appreciate the tone or the yelling, that is not back chat. And if you have anyone in your life that says that to you, girl, I mean, I can't tell you what to do when it comes to your own relationships, but for me, I distance myself from the people who don't appreciate very, very simple boundaries such as, please do not speak to me in that tone. And bringing it back to the whole family dynamic, it can be really, really difficult to set boundaries in with families when there is that kind of expectation that like parents are parents. Like there is just that general, I don't know, unwritten rule in society that like parents are parents, you listen to parents, and like true, you know, you should listen to your parents. They have obviously lived more life than you, they are more wiser than you, and grandparents, aunties, uncles, like always listen to people who are older, lived more life, and therefore are more wiser than you. When it comes to like, you know, tangible situations or like, you know, advice for your life, but not when it comes to speaking to you awfully. It doesn't matter who you are, how old you are, you should not be speaking to anyone in a way that is not valuing the other person. So yeah, I think it's tough. It's really, really, really tough. And if it's something that you're currently struggling with, my heart goes out to you. It's hard. At the end of the day, the older you get, the more you understand that you truly are with you forever. You are with yourself. You're the only person that is with yourself forever. And I say this all the time. So at the end of the day, you need to make sure that you are happy. You need to make sure that you are doing the things in your life that make you the happiest. And that includes surrounding yourself with the right people, regardless of whether they are your godmother, your grandma, your auntie, your uncle, your parents, whatever. Picking and choosing the people that fill your cup up in life shouldn't just be choosing friends. To me, it's everyone. regardless of whether you are blood related to them or not. If, certain people drain your energy, but you still want them in your life, just spend little bits of time with them, not lots. So to end the little chit chat about boundaries, I just kind of wrote a little sentence that I guess kind of sums up the definition of having boundaries. So I wrote, healthy boundaries are about being clear and honest about your own needs, limits, and expectations. So that kind of like sums everything up in one sentence. I guess healthy boundaries are really just about communication and getting clear and precise on your needs, your limits, and expectations. I mean, I guess even setting healthy boundaries goes with not only saying this is what I don't want or what I don't need from someone, but it also is like, what do you need from someone? Like, for example, in friendships, you need someone who is understanding. You need someone who is interested in what you do. Like, these are all very, very basic things, and obviously depending on your own situation and the different relationships in your own life, you can get super specific on what you need and what you don't need from particular people. Setting boundaries in every single aspect of your life is not selfish, and it is so incredibly healthy for your own mental health and for you to progress in life and become the version of you that you ultimately want to be. Entertaining people who do not appreciate you and your boundaries, no one needs that. No one needs that in life. Absolutely not. So yeah, I don't know. Hopefully this video was helpful. Hopefully you can tell how passionate I am about this subject. I would love to chat for longer about it. So let me know if you guys have any specific questions on this topic or anything like that. I think that's going to be it for today's episode, you guys. I hope that future Lacey is having the best first day ever in the UK. I feel like I've not been this excited for anything in my whole life ever. So I cannot wait. Make sure you guys follow my personal Instagram if you want to see daily updates of my trip. My personal Instagram is just I'm Lacey Jane. Otherwise, I will be trying my best to stay up to date with all of the To Nurture Your Soul stuff. But I definitely will be pre-recording an episode for next week and hopefully the week after as well. Fingers crossed for all of that, but yeah, thank you guys so much for allowing me to live this life. Honestly, if it was not for you guys, I say it all the time, I would not be doing this. I would not be living this life. I would not be, getting to go and visit my girlfriend, but also work at the same time. Like, I wouldn't be doing any of the things that I am doing now. So I am forever and always grateful for all of you, truly, from the bottom of my heart. And yeah, I don't know. I think that's it. I'm gonna go before I start to get a little emotional about it, because I will. If you guys are watching on YouTube, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel right down below. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, feel free to go subscribe to the YouTube channel. Lacey Jane is the name of it. Or make sure you're following us on Spotify and Apple Podcast so that you don't miss out on any of our future episodes. I love you guys so freaking much. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. And I will talk to you all in the next one.